Welcome back to Lydia's Plate. Today I'm making hot pickled peppers. I'm starting off by getting my brine ready to go. It needs a few minutes to cook up, so it needs to be done first, and then I can chop the peppers and the onions while that's cooking. I have quite a few peppers, so I'm going to be doing a double recipe. Now each jar gets a small clove of garlic, half a bay leaf, and a sprig of parsley. I'm doing small cloves of garlic because I'm doing small jars. I am doing half a bay leaf, and I'm dumping out my bay leaves because I don't want to break up a good large bay leaves, so I'm dumping them out and picking out the leaves that are already broken or the leaves that are really small. And I also don't have fresh parsley, so I'm doing half a teaspoon per jar instead of one sprig. After all of that is in, we can get on to the other veggies that are going in there. So you're going to need onions and hot peppers. I'm using my hot Hungarian wax peppers here, but you could also use jalapeno peppers. You could also put carrots in if you're interested, but I'm going to try this year without having them in there because I'm not quite sure what purpose they served, and I would rather fill my jars with more peppers and not carrots. Just a personal preference that I want to try for this year. I'm putting gloves on because, as I said, these are hot peppers and I do not want to be careful for the next however long. I'm not sure how long that hot pepper juice can last on your fingers. I don't want my fingers burning all evening, and if I would forget and touch my eye, I just want to avoid all of that. I'm sure it's very unpleasant. Actually, in a little bit you'll see that I put safety glasses on because one of those peppers, as I sliced into it, it sprayed juice right up under my eye, right on the bottom of my eyelid, and that was quite warm. So yeah, you'll definitely want to be careful. As I'm cutting these peppers up, Mark is tasting some of the seeds to see how hot they are. And it was a little bit funny because he was saying, oh yeah, that one's not hot, that one's not hot. And after a little bit he goes, you know, a few minutes later it does start to get a little warm. So these will be hot peppers. Other years we haven't been sure. Sometimes these peppers are very hit and miss. One is as sweet as a bell pepper and then the next one's hotter than a jalapeno. So that's why he was tasting them. We're just never sure how these ones are going to turn out, but you know, I kind of like that. I like that flexibility with them, and they grow well in my garden, so I really like them. This has been our best year for bell peppers. We don't always get bell peppers, so if these hot Hungarian wax peppers turn out well and they're not all hot, that has really helped me out the last couple of years. But here we're just making pickled peppers. So now that I have a lot of them sliced, I'm going to start filling my jars. I'm just layering hot peppers and onions, hot peppers and onions. Peppers are all cut up and the jars are full, so I'm going to clean up a little bit here and then we'll get on with the rest of the process. have pepper seeds everywhere, it feels like. Not really everywhere, but all over on the island in front of me and on the floor around me as well. So I'm going to start wiping down my jars so that the seal will work well. You want to make sure that the tops of your jars are very good and clean. I'm using a clean dishcloth, just rinsed out in hot water to wipe these jars clean. Now the next thing I have to do is get my oven ready. If you watched my dill pickle video, then you will have heard me say already that I don't have a canning pot. So I use the oven bath method. I steam my jars in the oven. That means I take this big heavy duty pan from my oven that came with it, and I fill it about half full with water, and then I let that get warm in the oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit and let it steam there. So the brine is all cooked up and I'm going to start filling my jars. I have this regular canning funnel, the green one that you see, and it's great, it's totally great, but some of my jars have smaller tops than what the funnel has for a bottom. So I'm also using just a cheap little funnel from Dollarama, and I've cut the bottom open farther so that I can use it for things like this where I have jars with smaller tops that need a little transition, but I actually also use it for filling my mustard bottles and various things like that. So I ran out of brine, I had to make more. So you can see here that a bunch of those jars, the first ones that got filled, they have turned quite yellow from the hot brine. And now the last three, the peppers are still quite green in there. So I've wiped those three, and now I have a cup of very hot water, and I'm just dipping my finger in there and running it around the top of each jar. It gets like that squeaky clean sound, and I'm just making sure that the jar rims are all clean and moist. Now that's all done, and the kitchen is a busy place today. So I'm folding up this towel so that I can put my hot lids onto it. And I'm just going to use a fork and slowly pick out one at a time. I couldn't remember at first which lid went with which jar, so after puzzling a couple of them, I decided to eliminate the ones I knew for sure first. It was easy to remember which lid went with which jar after that. And I'm not screwing these lids on tightly, I'm just screwing them on until they're tight enough that the jar wants to start turning as well, and if it gets that tight, then I loosen them just about a quarter of a turn. So there we go, the lids are all on, and now we're going to put them in the oven for their steam bath. Have these very handy finger oven gloves. The one is actually called, the one with the blue grip, that one is actually called the Of glove, and it does work very well. This is by no means a sponsored video, but that glove works very well for canning. It gives you very good grip and control as you're working. I've got 10 jars here. This should last us for quite a while. I think when I pickle hot peppers, it lasts us about 2 years. So there we go, they're all in there, and now it's been 20 minutes, it's done, so we're gonna pull them back out. And as I pull each one out, I am screwing that lid on as tight as I can make it go. I'm putting them onto the towel because they're wet from sitting in that steam bath, but also to protect my island countertop as well. I'm also being very careful to make sure that I don't bump them because I don't want that brine inside there to slosh up to the rim and make it dirty and get in the way of that seal. That's it, guys. I hope that you have found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the bell if you want to be notified whenever we post a new video. Those likes and subscribes help us so much, and the comments are very enjoyable. I enjoy interacting with you. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.